हेलो एवरीवन, ये हमारी पॉलिटी PYQ की फर्स्ट वीडियो है। इस रैपिड रिवीजन सीरीज़ में हम 38 से 69 प्रीलिम्स एग्ज़ाम के PYQ के साथ साथ जितने भी BPSC ने A ग्रेड एग्ज़ाम्स कराए हैं वो सब कवर करेंगे। तो आइए स्टार्ट करते हैं। इंडियन पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस, कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली एंड मेकिंग ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। First, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected the chairman of the Constituent Assembly in December 1946. The first session of Constituent Assembly was held on 9 December 1946. Indian Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. January 26 was selected as the date for the inauguration of Constitution because the Congress had observed it as an Independence Day in 1930. Constitution Day of India is celebrated on 26 November. Indian Constitution was adopted by Constituent Assembly. In Indian political system, which one is supreme? The Constitution. The Constitution of India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly. He was the first chairman of the Order of the Business Committee of the Constituent Assembly, K.M. Munshi. In addition to B.R. Ambedkar, there were 6 members in the Account Committee of the Constitution, constituted on 29 August 1947. They were Gopal Swami Iyengar, Kanhaiya Lal, Manik Lal Munshi, Aladi Krishna Swami Iyer, Sayyid Muhammad Saadullah, B.L. Mittal, D.P. Khaitan. The time taken to frame the Indian Constitution was 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. Chairman of Constitution Drafting Committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The President of Constituent Assembly was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Constitution of India is bag of borrows. Schedule and article of the Constitution. Indian Constitution consists of more than 400 articles. The Indian Constitution comprises of 395 articles, 22 parts and 12 schedules. Initially, correct match. Union list 97 entries, currently 100 हैं. State list 66 entries, currently 61. Concurrent list 47 entries, currently 52. Prevention of cruelty to animal is listed in this list of the Indian Constitution, concurrent list. Among agriculture, education, police and defense, the following subject lies in the concurrent list. Education. Constitution's 10th schedule led to anti-defection law. Land reform comes under the subject of state list. The format of oath or affidavit has been given in the Constitution of India in 3rd schedule. The provision for allocation of seat in the Council of State is included in the schedule of the Constitution of India in 4th. Untouchability is abolished by Article 17 of Indian Constitution. The 5th schedule deals with the governance and protection of interests of scheduled tribes. The Indian Constitution adopted the idea of concurrent list from Australia. Which schedule of Indian Constitution specifies the function of municipalities? 12th schedule. The word cabinet is used at one place only in the Indian Constitution under the Article 352. The 9th schedule was introduced in the Constitution of India during the Prime Ministership of Jawaharlal Nehru. Under which schedule of the Constitution of India the transfer of tribal land to private parties for mining can be declared null and void? 5th schedule. The preamble. In the context of preamble of Indian Constitution, the following sequence is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. In which form is India declared in the preamble? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. The term socialist was added in the preamble by 42nd Amendment. India has people's sovereignty because the preamble of Constitution begins with the word "We, the people of India." Freedom, equality, fraternity was inspired by French Revolution. It was not primarily included in the Constitution of India. Socialism and secularism. Describe India as a secular state. Preamble of Constitution. It is called the soul of the Indian Constitution. Preamble of Constitution. The governance system. The following statements are not correct regarding parliamentary form of government. First, the legislature is responsible to judiciary. Second, the legislature is responsible to executive. Third, the legislature and the executive are independent. Fourth, the president is responsible to judiciary. The democracy of India is based on the fact that public enjoys the right to choose and change the government. The following characteristic is not true for unitary form of government, ideal for large countries. The following statement is true. The federal form of government is in USA. What is the nature of Indian Constitution? Federal in nature but unitary in spirit. States and the Union Territory. Creation of new state require a simple majority for constitutional amendment. Delhi is an union territory. Sikkim became a state of India under 35th Amendment. Note, Sikkim became associate state with 35th Amendment and full-fledged state with 36th Amendment. A separate financial state carved out of Bihar can be made possible by passing the legislation in the state assembly, passing the ordinance by the governor, completing constitutional formalities, none of the above. In which year did the state Jharkhand comes into existence? 2000. Question. After independence, in which year were the Indian state reorganized on the linguistic basis? 1956. The 28th state of Indian Union is Jharkhand. The idea of federal structure with a strong center was taken in India from Canada. The citizenship. Indian citizenship cannot be obtained by depositing money in Indian bank. When was the Citizenship Amendment Act passed? 11 December 2019. The purpose of Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 is to grant citizenship to persecuted minority group of Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Fundamental right. Under these articles of the Constitution of India, fundamental rights have been provided to citizen. Article 12 to 35. Which article of the Constitution gives precedence to constitutional provision over the laws made by the Union Parliament / state legislature? 13. What is meant by rule of law? One act for all and one judiciary for all. Article of the Constitution of India that is related with the freedom of the press. Answer. Article 19. The Supreme Court has held that hoisting the national flag atop the private building is a fundamental right of every citizen under Article 19, Clause 1A of the Constitution. When was the right to education added through the amendment in the Constitution of India? 1st April 2010. Among right to information, right to work, right to education and right to housing, following is a human right as well as fundamental right under Constitution of India. Right to education. The following are given the power to enforce the fundamental right by the Constitution: the Supreme Court and the High Court. The following constitutional remedies are also known as post-mortem, certiorari, quo warranto. The following is not a fundamental right: right to property. Choose the fundamental right available to Indian citizen but not to alien. Freedom of speech and expression, right of minorities. The following right conferred by the Constitution of India is also available to non-citizen: right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies include fundamental right, legal right, constitutional right. Writ that is applicable against illegal detention of a person, habeas corpus. Right to property was removed from the list of fundamental rights during the rule of Morarji Desai. In Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, written equality before law has been taken from Britain. Indian Constitution has taken reference for the idea of fundamental right from USA. Court can issue following for enforcement of the fundamental right: writ, constitutional remedy known as post-mortem, quo warranto. This category of fundamental right include protection against discrimination in the form of untouchability, right to equality. DPSP. The concept of welfare state is included in the Constitution of India in DPSP. Panchayati Raj system in India is laid down under DPSP. The following article direct the state government to organize the panchayat. Article 40. Formation of village panchayat. Article 40. Uniform Civil Code. Article 44. Agriculture, Animal Husbandry, Article 48. Separation of judiciary from executive, Article 50. Promotion of international peace, Article 51. The following are listed among the DPSP in Part 4 of the Constitution of India: equal pay for equal work and uniform civil code. Part 4 of Indian Constitution lays down the directive principle of state policy, and this was inspired by Ireland. Fundamental duty. The 10th commandment, which were added by 42nd Amendment Act, is fundamental duties. The following is a fundamental duty in India: to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. This is not a part of DPSP given in Article 39, raising the level of nutrition of the people and improvement of their health. The following statement regarding 42nd Amendment is incorrect. It added 8 fundamental duties. It added new DPSP, that is Article 39A, Article 43A and Article 47. The President of India exercises his power either directly or through officers subordinate to him. Who is the executive head of his state? President. Who has been vested with the executive powers of central government under the Constitution of India? President of India. In India, the President is elected by single transferable vote system and proportional vote system. Electoral college for the election of President of India consists of all the elected member of both the House of Parliament, elected member of the State Legislative Assembly. The Indian President is eligible for re-election for how many times? Any number of times. If there is any dispute regarding the presidential election, it can be referred to Supreme Court of India. The President of India can be removed from his post by Parliament if the position of President and Vice President are vacant. Who officiate as the President of India? The Chief Justice of India. A bill presented in Parliament becomes an act after the President has given his assent. Indian Constitution doesn't empower the President of India with the right of appointment of Chief Minister in a state. The President of India does not have the right to answer, remove a judge of Supreme Court. The first President of India, Rajendra Prasad, belonged to which state? Bihar. What is the sequence number of Miss Pratibha Patil as President? 12th. Who was a candidate of United Progressive Alliance UPA in 15th presidential election? Meera Kumar. The Supreme Commander of Defence Forces of India, President of India. The executive power of Union shall vested in the President is mentioned in Article 53 of the Constitution. The President shall on entering upon his office assume the office for 5 years. Impeachment of President under Article 61. At the time of prorogation of Parliament, the power to issue ordinance is vested in President of India. Draupadi Murmu is 15th President of India. The following is not a constitutional prerogative of President of India, that is returning of a finance bill for reconsideration. The authority to determine the number of judges in a high court rests with the President. The President can be removed from his office before the expiry of his normal term, only on the recommendation of 2 houses of the Parliament. The Vice President. Electoral College for the 16th Vice Presidential election of India for 2022 consists of how many members? 788. The Chairman of Rajya Sabha is the Vice President. Who is the ex officio Chairman of Rajya Sabha? The Vice President. The following statement is not correct. Vice President is appointed by President of India. The serial number of Mr. Muhammad Ansari as Vice President is 12th. The Vice President of India is elected by all members of both the House of Parliament, whether elected or nominated. The Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister of India is the head of the central government. The word Mantri Mandal, Cabinet, is mentioned only once in Constitution, and that is in Article 352. Prime Minister of India is generally member of Lok Sabha. The Council of Ministers is responsible to Lok Sabha collectively. Union Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. The executive is subordinate to the legislature. Who is the highest civil services officer of the central government? The Cabinet Secretary. Which Constitutional Amendment Act restricted the size of the Council of Ministers to 15% of the total member of the Lok Sabha? 91st Constitutional Amendment Act 2003. Recently, who has been assigned as a charge of the Minister of Minority Affairs? Smriti Irani. You hold it. The split system in the Indian administration relate to policy/implementation. Who is the head of National Defence Committee? Prime Minister. Attorney General and CAG. The person who advises the Government of India on legal matter is Attorney General of India. And Attorney General is appointed by the President of India. Which officer of the Government of India has the right to take part in the proceeding of Parliament of India even though he is not a member? Attorney General of India. As a non-member, who can participate in the proceeding of either House of Parliament? Vice President and Attorney General. Who advises the state government on legal matters? Advocate General. The Parliament. The minimum age laid down for a person to seek election to the Lok Sabha is 25 years. What is the minimum age for a member of the Parliament? 25 years. Presently, the number of seats of each state in Lok Sabha is allotted on the basis of census of 1971. The state-wise allocation of seat in Lok Sabha is based on 1971 census. Up to which year does this remain intact? 2026. The division of each state into territorial constituencies for the Lok Sabha is done by the Delimitation Commission. This delimitation has been freeze till 2026. In which article of the Constitution of India was the provision for the reservation of scheduled caste in Lok Sabha made? Article 330. Who hold power to appoint the nominee from Anglo-Indian community in the Lok Sabha? President of India. Before completing its term, the Lok Sabha can be dissolved by the President on the recommendation of Prime Minister. Prior to the completion of tenure, the Lok Sabha can be dissolved by the President on the recommendation of Council of Ministers. Generally, how many sessions are there in the Lok Sabha? Answer 3. Session of Lok Sabha is called for at least 2 times in a year. State that sent the largest number of members in Lok Sabha, Uttar Pradesh. So long as a representation in Lok Sabha is concerned, which state ranks second and third? Maharashtra and West Bengal. A candidate of Lok Sabha poll loses his security amount if he/she does not get 1/6 of valid vote. First general election of Lok Sabha was held in 1952. Ninth Lok Sabha was dissolved on 13 March 1991. The election for 12th Lok Sabha of India was held in February 1998. Who is the leader of the Lok Sabha? Prime Minister. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha is elected by all members of Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha consists of 250 members, of which 12 members are nominated by President of India. The representation of state in Council of State is based on ratio of the population. Member of Rajya Sabha is elected for 6 years. Rajya Sabha is called permanent house because it cannot be dissolved. According to our constitution, the Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. Right to dissolve the Rajya Sabha, it cannot be dissolved. The number of members nominated by President in Rajya Sabha is 12. In which house is the presiding officer not a member of that house, Rajya Sabha? Chairman of Rajya Sabha is the Vice President of India. The President is a part of the Parliament. The interval between the 2 consecutive sessions of Parliament should be 6 months. A seat of MP can be declared vacant if he absent himself from the house for a continuous period of 2 months. 0 hour in political jargon refer to question answer session. Joint session of both the House of Parliament is concerned to discuss and pass such a bill where both houses have different opinion. How many demands for grant are put before the Parliament as part of the annual budget in pursuance to Article 113 of the Constitution? 98, 96, 104, 109. None of the above / more than one of the above. What constitute the definition of money bill under Article 110 of Indian Constitution? Answer: the imposition, abolition, alteration, regulation of any tax, the appropriation of money out of the Consolidated Fund of India, declaration of any expenditure to be charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. Money bill can be presented only in the Lok Sabha. Money bill cannot be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. Vote and account is meant for appropriating fund pending passing of budget. What is the object of cut motion? The objective of cut motion is to move a proposal to reduce expenditure in the budget proposal. The Public Account Committee submit its report to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. The following is a parliamentary committee relating to delegation of power to make rules and regulation to the executive. Answer: Committee on Subordinate Legislation. The expenses of the Parliament can be controlled by Parliament of India. The number of members nominated by President to Rajya Sabha is 12. Representation in Rajya Sabha include nominated member by President of India, member indirectly elected by the citizen through their representative. The Lok Sabha Secretariat comes under the direct supervision of Speaker of the Lok Sabha. This bill sought to end the provision for nomination of Anglo-Indian to the Lok Sabha and assemblies, the Constitution 126 Amendment Bill 2019. In India, amendment in Constitution can be done by Parliament. Power to reorganize the state lies with the Indian Parliament, under which article the Speaker can allow any member of the House to speak in his/her mother tongue. Article 120. The total number of seats for MP in the newly inaugurated Parliament of India is 1272. Rajya Sabha has got more power than the Lok Sabha in creation of a new All India services. An amendment to the Constitution of India can be initiated by the Lok Sabha Rajya Sabha. Thank you.